Hey everybody, Taylor Haney, Singletrack Surgeon, coming at you with another video. And today I'm out here in beautiful Redlands, California, and I'm gonna be doing some trail maintenance, while specifically filling in some rain ruts. And let me tell you, one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is when people post photos on Instagram or social media in general of damage, and then they do nothing. I know you guys have all seen that. And in these last couple rains, there's been a lot of damage that's happened to trails. I've seen it a lot. And so I chose this location because I've only ridden here once, ever. This is not my local area, but I rode this trail about 2 weeks ago and I was like, this is a pretty cool area. I have a very visual memory. And so when I saw some photos of a rain rut, I was thinking, man, I know exactly where that is. That's in that Deer Canyon, or also known as Trash Canyon in Redlands. And all of the photos that I saw, there was no work done. It was just simply, look at this damage, or no text at all, just tire, huge rut. And this is my lunch break. I work full-time. I hear a lot of excuses of, oh, well, I have a full-time job, blah, 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 blah. This is my lunch break. I grabbed a shovel from my house. I don't have a stash out here. And I'm gonna power up there. I'm gonna fill the rut myself on a trail I've only ridden once, because that's what we should all be doing. We should all chip in, because if we all do a little bit, none of us will really have to do a lot, and we'll have better trails. So to cut to the chase, I'm gonna jump on the bike and let's go fix some rain ruts. Phew. So here's a quick tip for y'all. If you're transporting any type of trail tools, you wanna do it by finding the balance point of your shovel, your rake, whatever you're trying to transport. And then you want to put that balance point right there on your grip. And that allows you to sit your palm on top of the trail tool. And believe it or not, you actually can still brake. And if you move your hand, you still can actuate your dropper post. It's the best way to do it. You don't really get too much fatigue. You're not holding the tool for very long, and it makes it a lot more safe when you're making maneuvers, because that's gonna move with you. You just wanna be careful that you don't let the end of the shovel go into your spokes. So keep that tip down a little bit. You're good to go. All right, we have arrived at the rut, and I was right. It is this canyon. This is actually exactly where I saw the photo. Somebody had their tire right here on Instagram, took a photo of this glorious rain rut. Now, if we go up to the top, we can see why it formed. The creek is actually to our left, so this is not where the water should be going. But if you go here, this has kind of become a creek, and there's no way for the water to get from here in there. So what we need to do is cut a rain rut. You can see that's where the water wants to go, so we just have to encourage it to go that way. Throw in another rain rut right here, divert all this water, and then fill this rut. And hopefully with those two diversions, this will all be fixed. Benching is complete, and I pulled down enough dirt from the edge that I could fill the rut entirely. And then what I did is I actually just walked on the dirt and compacted wherever the rut was. I would give it a good stomp, make sure it would settle, and then I would bring dirt over from the side to fill that hole so you have even filling. Because what eventually would happen is there'd be a depression where the rut was, and that has the potential to become a rain rut. So you want to make sure that's really good and packed down. And I usually do this next part with a flat head, but I only have this round head shovel at my house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the edge to kind of blade this as flat as I can and get this nice and smooth. All of the shaving is done, and I compacted the dirt as much as I could with my Ride Concept Vice Mids. And then I moved on to building this diversion for all the water. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they try and build water bars or rain diversions is they think they need to make it into a really harsh curb, and they'll put it all the way across the trail. And you don't necessarily have to do that. If you think back to when you were a little kid, if you were like me, you played with those little marble machines that you'd like go in and they would roll, and they'd have little toilet bowls and stuff. And the idea is to take the water and use a path where the water just wants to go. So you can do that by building a feature instead of actually building a huge nasty curb that's gonna smash your front tire. So right here, I did the water bar first, so I knew where everything was going. I put all the dirt next to it. So we basically have a berm here as well as a water bar. And then here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all this dirt here and build this into a roller. So instead of having this harsh hit here, where it might be sharp, might bottom out your front travel, we're actually going to turn it into a roller, and we're gonna go from here right into that dark dirt and add some flow. So I skipped through all the boring part, which was digging a bunch of ditches, but I wanna show you what I've done and how I've rerouted the trail, and hopefully this will lead to less rain damage in the future. That down there is that little speed roller with the rain diversion going to the right. And this is where the majority of the water was getting into the trail. So I cut one here, and then I cut another on the inside. And in addition, I actually scraped all of the loose sand, so you can see it all over there. I used the blade and scraped all the loose sand off, so it actually lowered this level quite a bit. So it should go into this rain rut a little easier. And around this corner was the source of most of the water. So here's the creek coming down, and this wasn't able to get into the normal creek bed, which is why it was going right into the trail. So here, I dug a trench, I filled this in and packed it really hard and gave the water somewhere to go. And like I was talking about before, I didn't need to build a weird curb or a berm here. All I had to do was cut this low enough that I gave the flow somewhere to go and let it right into the creek. Now, I would argue, is the most important part of the whole process, and it's something that a lot of people overlook, and it's one of the best tools you have as a mountain biker, and that's your bike. Your wheels are essentially big steamrollers, and I have an e-bike, so it's even heavier. So the best way to smooth out the trail when you're finished working is to ride it like 50 times. So I'm gonna go up and down and up and down and up and down until this thing is as smooth as I can get it today. Now, not only do I think that's the most important, I think it might be the most fun as well, riding up and down what you've just built. And what it leaves you with is a very compact layer on the top, and that builds a nice foundation for the trail. Now, normally I would have my flathead and a rake, and I would go and do what I call scrape and rake, where you shave off all those little bumps, and then you use the backside of the rake to make sure everything is smooth, and then you're done for the day. So I'm actually gonna jump on the bike and go all the way to the top, and we'll ride the whole trail, and you can see how this new section of trail fits in. Phew. Heading into the top of the trail. This actually connects to one of the offshoots of Sunset and goes all the way down to Alessandro. So it's actually a fun little ride if you want to pedal up the road and not have to pedal up Singletrack. You can do loops. It's got some good flow. I actually really like it for a chill Singletrack. As you can see, a lot of off camber. It's a shared trail between hikers and bikers, so I want to be careful around all the corners. But that's one thing I would love to change, is the perception that mountain bikers are the self-centered ones. I think oftentimes we're vilified, when in reality, we're willing to put in the work and fix the trails, and the hikers aren't really doing that. So I would encourage you all, get out, prepare some trails, even if they're multi-use. Don't just focus on the bike trails. Get everything fixed. And change the perspective of everybody with bikers. Maybe those hikers won't be as hostile anymore. It is nice that there isn't that much damage here up top. We're heading into some of the bridge sections. It's really cool. Somebody took the time to build bridges and put them back here. Got to watch out for your head on that one. Here's a pretty stiff curb there. Lots of off cameras. These could all be slightly altered. Hold a little more speed. Get rid of some of the brush on the inside of the corners. And up here, you stay out of the creek. And the creek, I guess you could say the creek stays in the creek. But as we get lower, you can see where the problems start to arise. More riding in the creek, across the creek. The creek kind of gets confused. Where am I supposed to go? Ooh, that's a tight one. You won't get a creek section here, rut. As you might be able to tell, we're getting pretty close to the erosion. As we're going in and out, the canyon gets tighter, so there's not really a good place to go. Whew. Hard curves because of the erosion. Now we're into the part we worked on today. Look at that, no rut. I wouldn't say it's smooth yet, but smooth enough to ride. Got some sand there. Good flow. Now we're getting to the end of the single track. Crank up the speed. Woo! Look at that outside. And here we are, back out on the double track. And this takes you all the way down to Alessandro. Theoretically, you could even shuttle it if you want. Thanks for following along with me today on this quick dig session. Hopefully this has given you the confidence to pick up a shovel and fill in some rain ruts and know that you're not going to be doing any damage. Just fill the hole, pack it out, and let's get some trails running nice, because this is the time. This is the time to fix all these trails so that we can enjoy them all spring and all summer long. Until next time, remember to go fast, get drifty, and don't suck. Phew!